Welcome back to the Grindhouse Podcast. I am your host, Cheese Film.
And I am Hecubus.
And this is our new studio. I forgot to put a hat on, so I've got some bad hair going on. But we were off last week because we found a place, and we're going to actually go forward with some consistency this time. We've got a lot coming up for the rest of the season, including this spectacular film known only as 12 Monkeys.
Actually, that's not right.
Oh, is it
Hang
not
on
right?
a second. In Taiwan, it's called Mobilization for the Future.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is.
Well, it's not.
That would be a great heavy metal or hard rock
band name. Yeah, 100%.
What do you call it? Just their album. That would be. Hey, Randy Official.
Yeah.
Mobilization for the Future.
Mobilization for the Future is a cool name.
Funny enough, I say that it's a mouthful. I always thought this movie's full title was The Army of the 12 Monkeys.
Oh, really?
Apparently I'm the only one who's ever thought that.
Yes, you are.
Because everybody I talk to only refers to it as 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's ever done the full army of. And I don't know where I got it from at all. It's not in the credits. It's not on anything. If you Google it, it corrects you.
It's the Army of the 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, they are the Army of the 12 Monkeys,
Right.
but the movie's not called that. The movie's called 12 Monkeys. And for why, we'll get into.
All right, came out in 1995.
Yes, 1995. I believe, is this the first movie Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt starring?
I believe it is.
I think it's the first
and
one.
Bruce Willis was a way bigger star than Brad Pitt. It was what made Brad Pitt get
A star.
this in Seven.
Yeah.
Where he would do that, and where he wasn't just a pretty face. He was a real actor. And Bruce Willis was the $1 Million Smirk, and then Die Hard. He wanted to be taken more seriously, and he wanted to work with Terry Gilliam, the director.
Terry Gilliam.
And from Monty Python fame.
Yeah, that's where I go to all the time with him. I go right to Monty Python.
Yeah.
He
was a cartoonist.
More recent one he just ended up doing, I'm talking about, I think with you earlier. But I was like, yeah, he's a Monty Python guy who also did the 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of movies under his belt like this.
Yeah, but Bruce Willis was a big after Die Hard's,
right?
You know what I mean? And he didn't get paid, or got paid very little, and because he wanted to work with Terry Gilliam, and it would have been the whole budget if he worked on it.
Right.
So he got it on the back end. He purposely did all that. Yeah.
See, playing it smart.
Yeah, because it made a ton of money, way over its budget.
Oh yeah,
like 3 times its budget.
I think this is one of the greatest time travel movies ever made.
It is. I think it is one of the greatest time travel movies ever.
So good, and we'll talk about this later on. A lot of time travel movies do the contradict itself kind of thing. I don't think this one does.
I think it's completely contained.
Yeah,
and I was thinking that while I was watching it this last time. Everything, it's all just a big circle. Everything comes right back around.
It's an Ouroboros.
Yeah.
No matter, you can't escape it. It's always going to be.
Yep.
We'll pull up a picture of the Brad Pitt in this movie. It's, I believe the picture we have is the opening flashback where Brad Pitt's
not a flashback.
Running through. Well, it's shown as a flashback.
What do you mean?
Because he's a boy.
Oh,
at the airport.
Bruce Willis.
I meant Brad Pitt. I thought I said Brad Pitt.
You did say Brad Pitt. It's Bruce Willis.
Running? No. The little
Bruce
boy
Willis
is Bruce Willis.
running.
But the guy running in, and you see his face, and it's Brad Pitt.
Oh, that's in the dream.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll put that picture up because I know we have it. That scene, which I really do want to rip apart here, is the first time we see Brad Pitt in the movie and a younger kid. We don't know it's Bruce Willis yet, but
no,
we ended up. Well, yeah, it was the opener of the
first time
movie.
we see the Brad Pitt. It's the second time we see that dream. The first time he doesn't turn all the way around, and then Bruce Willis has the dream, and he sees Brad Pitt, which is why he thinks Brad Pitt is the guy who's going to
destroy the world.
Basically,
yeah. This movie kind of also is a little relevant because it plays on the fears of the pandemic.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's relevant that way. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Terror-wise.
And, I mean, they take it way far, and the virus completely flips humanity and nature on its head. Kind of like the remake of the Planet of the Apes does, too. Like
a little bit.
Kind of same. Maybe it's a connected universe. It's the same virus.
It's the same virus, right?
But yeah, so the movie opens up with this dream sequence where we see the little boy and somebody running away, and we hear the gunshot and the scream, and he wakes up in this prison in the future.
Yes.
I think the future was... Oh, I forgot to write it down.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it takes place in 1996, 1990, 1996, and I think 2036.
I think you're right. I think it's 2036.
So Bruce Willis, when he's in the future hellscape stuff that's all underground, is 2036. And what were you going to say about it?
That's how we started out. And we're in this distant future in 2036 where everything is underground. It's very, I wouldn't say steampunk, but like...
No, I get what you're saying with steampunk.
You know what I'm saying?
But because they're not making anything, they can only reuse stuff.
What they have.
And
there's no innovation
just
anymore.
Brilliant.
And the way the set
design is perfect.
It's amazing because it's reusing in a steampunky kind of way. It's reusing what they would have available in newer ways, like the
repurposed stuff. Yeah.
The camera ball and stuff like that. It's all stuff that you would just find in like a junkyard.
Yeah,
turned into something completely new, and it's cool that that's how the future is set up, and that's the vibe of the future. That's the aesthetic of this future. And we meet Bruce Willis here. This is where we see our first Bruce Willis, and he's locked up.
He's going to get volunteered.
Yeah, he's going to get volunteered, which I think is also kind of a dystopian take on stuff like that. That's a great way to do that. It's not, you don't get to volunteer. You're chosen to be a volunteer. And what are you a volunteer of? Going outside. Seeing if you can find... He's trying to find... like life, right? Like if humanity can come back up.
They're trying. The virus wipes out most of the people, so they have to go underground, and then volunteers like Bruce Willis are chosen to go up to the surface, and like he collects bugs and whatever they can get to try to make a cure for the virus,
but not other animals. They're leaving other animals alone.
Yeah. So the first time he goes up there. He and this is with the circular thing. There's a bear.
Yeah,
it's in Philadelphia, and there's a bear that like roars and then walks off. Later in the movie, in about the same exact spot, there's a bear,
stuffed bear. Yeah,
and the movie is really it toys with time travel, obviously, but also. Madness.
Yeah, like a descent, like almost Alice in Wonderland-y descent into madness.
It really is, but it's not madness.
No, it's
all real.
It's coming. It's going to happen, and it's oh man, it's like foreshadowing.
Yes.
Reversed.
Yeah, it is.
You know, because we saw like for example, we saw the bear in Philadelphia, that train station or wherever it was.
Yeah.
In the very beginning of the movie, and then towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
He sees that bear again, and he hears the bear's roar that he heard earlier. So it's like a reversed. It's like a reverse setup. Like you would imagine. Oh, he saw the stuffed bear, and he's afraid of the bear, and then later on he'll encounter a real bear.
Right.
It's the other way around. He encounters a real bear, in the same spot he encounters the stuffed bear.
Yes.
Which will, like an Ouroboros, come back around to seeing the real bear. Great, like. It's full
of that stuff. The whole movie is Phil, that's what I meant with circular, like that. The bear,
the lion at one point.
Yeah, the lion. There's something else.
There's an exact replicant shot. It's a train. I don't know the train station's name.
Yeah, it's in Philadelphia.
Or the plane airport. And he walks in and the glass falls and birds fly.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the movie, or around there, he walks back in there and he looks up and it dissolves into what he saw before, and it comes back because it's like deja vu. The direction and having to keep all of that accounted for the entire time is
they do that.
Insane. I'm so impressed with it.
It is. Me too. And I noticed a lot more this time too when I was rewatching it. We keep going off on tangents, so you want to just do the plot?
We'll go through the plot. We'll go through
real
the plot.
quick, and then those details. So, Bruce Willis, is from the future, 2036. There has been a pandemic that wipes out most of humanity, and the scientists of the time are trying to find a cure for it. Mm-hmm. So they invent a time machine and send it back, which is. I'm going to go into set design a little bit. The time machine there's a big wall. It's metal. It's got a hole in it. That's an abandoned power plant. Because the way they had to use I'm getting my.
It's like a particle accelerator.
It is, but it's it's a repurposed abandoned power plant for the film. Of a repurposed, abandoned stuff for the time machine. Do you know what I mean? They had to do that it's very clever.
It's so clever.
And they shoot him. It's like squirts him into the machine.
Yeah, I thought it looked a lot like a power accelerator, which I don't think they had back then.
I doubt it.
I don't.
Oh, not 1996 when these came out.
Yeah,
no, hell no.
That whole like a collider and all that kind of stuff.
No, that was not.
But it looks just like that today, which like nuclear scientists can leave a comment down below on how real that looks. Because that's what it does. Like a particle accelerator shoots it around and around and around until it goes faster, which is I think they time travel. That's a way to do it too, is to get that particle to go faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, because they can make wormholes, and that's one way to do that. But.
So it's cool that a movie from this time would utilize that same kind of technology with a person and shoot them back in time in a very similar vein.
Yeah. So they shoot him back in time to 1990.
They missed.
They was
trying to go to 96. Which, oh my God, this is so great. Because if a time traveler came back to us today, and was trying to tell us about how the world's going to end in 6 years, and soon, and
it already happened.
Yeah,
because he talks about it in the past tense all the time.
He talks about 1996 like it has already happened in the year 1990.
Yeah,
he looks insane.
Yes. And it's great. So they put him in a
they lock him up in an asylum, and immediately they have. He's got no identification on him. They've got nothing on him. He's never been born. He hasn't been born yet. So they lock him up, and that's where we meet Brad Pitt.
Right.
And I know he's the son of a rich guy, and that's probably why he gets the special treatment he does. But he's like an assistant, quote unquote, to the orderlies. We'll show him around.
Yeah.
And
they keep him busy by doing that.
Yeah.
And out of their hair.
And I like that and Brad Pitt sells it amazingly.
He does.
He's doing a great job.
One little trick that Terry Gilliam used was keeping his cigarettes from him. That's why he talks like that. Also, his crossed eye, that was Brad Pitt's idea.
That was a good idea.
Yeah, it was a great idea because it's unnerving.
As somebody with a crossed eye myself, I can attest that definitely sold it a little bit too. And the whole environment, like the locked in the box kind of thing, is very similar to what he just left.
Yeah.
And there's a point where he's like strapped down even in this asylum, where they shoot it from above, just like how we were introduced, and they will mirror that shot when he gets sent back to the future.
Yep.
It's all really well done. And then they go from the asylum, comes back into the future, gives a report, they shoot him back.
Right.
we find out that one of the doctors in the lineup here that is examining Brad Pitt is Mr. Frank Gorshin.
Yep, Frank Gorshin is the head one.
Yes, which if you watch the trailer for this episode, we had told you he is the Riddler, which I think is awesome. And he does a great job in this, too. He
does.
He's a good actor.
He's not funny. He's not even trying to be funny. He's just perfect for it.
He's doing a great job. Everybody in this movie is doing a great job. Yeah. I don't think there's a single performance in this that I was like, well, that wasn't so good.
No, I don't think anything really takes you out of it whatsoever.
No.
He goes back and forth to the future and the past. And at one point, all right, there's so much to this movie.
There really is. We're not going to be able to...
Madeline Stowe's character is a psychiatrist. She's Bruce Willis's. It's kind of like a pro bono thing. She works for the state to help people, but she really wants to help people. And she wrote a book about, or she's writing a book in 1990 about the end of the world, how man destroys himself,
man
basically.
Can destroy it.
And there's a guy that comes up to get an autograph.
Yes.
Well, no, that's in 1996. But so she's working on that.
Yeah.
And she's got pictures because one of the photographs is very important.
It comes back and play.
It comes back.
Everything.
Everything.
It's
comes back. So clever. She writes this book, and a guy who's all into Armageddon gets an autograph from her. That guy ends up working for Christopher Plummer, who is Brad Pitt's dad. And they do experiments on animals and stuff, and Brad Pitt's an animal guy.
An animal conservative.
And he doesn't want that to happen anymore. And so that's where... Those are the key players, basically.
And, yes. So, and I think this is so cool. So the logo of the 12 monkeys is the one big monkey in the middle. And
right.
Probably I didn't count them, but 11 other ones.
I think there's 13. There's 13 on the thing, so there's probably 12 around
here, and then the one in the middle. At the orderlies' little bedroom where they've got them all in a circle.
Yep.
And then Brad Pitt's the one who's kind of in the middle of it all. And it's there, and he's thinking about... Bruce Willis is like, I'm looking for the 12 monkes, which gives
him
Brad Pitt the idea to do
call it that, While we're on that logo real quick, that logo is based on it's a puzzle game from 1898. And... basically, there's 12 guys around the Earth, and one of them you can make disappear, and you got to put it together, basically. And I purposely didn't download that picture because it's very racist. But that whole concept with the 12 monkeys going around it, there's 12 Oriental guys that somebody did from 1898. So you get an idea why we don't have a picture of it.
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool that's what inspired that. But that's awesome too. That the layout,
foreshadowing,
all of it, it's so self-contained. I love it. Also in the background, if you look, lots of times you'll see, because it kind of looks like a barrel full of monkeys.
That's what I thought it was,
and I think you see that in the game room. But there's sock monkeys.
A lot of sock monkeys.
There's a lot of monkey kind of references that just kind of keep it in your head.
Yeah,
the whole thing. You just ignore it, Tom. But that's pretty clever that he's the one monkey among all the 12 monkeys.
Yeah. And I thought they were doing that on purpose.
Yeah, they probably did. They probably did.
To get him there. So we zip back into the future, and he's like, "Yeah, you sent me in the wrong time. I didn't meet anybody." But then they're showing pictures of the events that are about to happen.
Right.
And we see Bruce Willis. So now we've got our entry point that we can continue.
Yeah.
So he goes back, and now he's in 1996, and what's her name?
Madeline Stowe.
Madeline Stowe, she's written her book, and not yet. Not yet. That picture comes into play right here because he's zapped back at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Again.
Right. He's zapped back to World War I.
World War I.
And he gets shot in the leg. But this is so confusing because I think that actually happens. He's not shot in the leg yet, I don't think.
In World War...
He gets shot in the leg when he takes her hostage.
He is shot in the leg when he's shot.
Right.
So when he gets back to World War I, he gets shot in the leg, and then from that point on, he's got a bullet in his leg, and he's bleeding, and he's all this stuff, and he kidnaps her with that bullet in his leg. She gets it out of his leg, and they examine it.
Right.
And that's
you know who examines
cameo.
it?
Yeah. What's his name?
Stabler. I can't think of his real name.
The Law and Order guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, this is a bullet from World War.
Right,
This is
and it's pristine."
Yeah. How did you get this?
Listen, hang on a sec. Your mother is a huge Bruce Willis fan, a heartthrob for her. Her sister, your aunt, is a huge Brad Pitt fan, a big heartthrob for her. And they're like, one time, this is years ago, they wish they were in a movie together.
Right.
I said, well, what about 12 Monkeys? No, I hate that movie. Blah, blah, they can't stand it. Anyway, they're also both Law and Order fans. And then this time I'm like, holy cow, it's Elliot Stabler. He's in it too. I said, you should need to watch it now. No, I'm not gonna.
It's so good, though. It's so good.
It is. I don't think. All right, listen. It's too contrived of a plot to talk about.
It is.
So you have to watch it. And if you've seen it, you're going to know what we're talking about. The point is, he has a dream, which is not a dream. It's a memory.
It's a memory.
He's in a airport to watch the planes take off and land. I've never heard of people doing this.
Ever.
But get up. So then he sees somebody getting killed.
Yes.
Brad Pitt Bruce Willis is from the future, goes back trying to find a cure to save humanity.
Right.
He thinks it's Brad Pitt. It's not. Some stuff happens. We'll talk about that in a minute. The thing with the airport is he's a kid watching himself get shot.
Yes.
And that's the big deal of the movie.
That's the twist.
It's a huge thing. And that's from, did you look into this at all?
No, I actually tried not to.
It's from a movie from the 60s. And I just forgot his name. Did I read it? Chris Marker made a movie. I thought this was amazing when I first heard about it, which was right when this movie was coming out, called Le Jeté. It's a French movie. Excuse me. The cool thing about that, because I watched it. It's about 20 minutes long. This is way better. It was inspired by this. The guy sees himself getting shot. That's the big thing. The Jeté is people go in France, I guess, go to the airport to watch planes take off and land.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's why they brought their kid there to watch the planes take off and land.
Okay, so there's a reference to that original story.
Right. And the thing is, though, that movie is made with all still photographs except for one part where the love interest wakes up and smiles. And that's why that guy is doing the stuff, because he's in love with her. But it's all still black and white photos. And it's pretty cool, but not for 20 minutes. And this story is way better.
Oh, it's so good.
It's way better.
So now that we've kind of gotten to that part.
So, right. Okay. Go ahead.
I want to discuss this because in the memories, the dream memories he's having, he's seeing Brad Pitt.
Right.
And he's got to stop Brad Pitt.
Well, you see, that's the one time he turns around and it's Brad Pitt.
It's Brad Pitt. So he goes out and he basically stops him. Because the Army of the 12 Monkeys wasn't there to destroy the world. They were there to release the animals.
Release the animals from the zoo in Philadelphia.
I think that is a divergence from the original what happened in the very beginning. I think Brad Pitt actually released that virus and wiped out humanity. I think that really did happen.
I don't.
Because he was so on board with it in the asylum.
Yeah, he was.
He was reminded of it. And that got the fire back to him to go to the monkeys. And then the lady talked to his father about stop experimenting on the animals. That was the point in which this diverged. I think that, because if she didn't do that, she didn't believe him, Brad Pitt would have destroyed everybody. But because his father had a change of heart and didn't do that, and then we see the camera does the whole thing makes us pay attention to the fact that the other guy, the dude who got the signature, thinks that this is a good idea and wants to do this, and we see that there. It's only a little snippet, but that's our step in this direction, that this guy is going to take that now. He stopped,
right,
and he gave it up. Now he's going to take it.
I see what you're saying.
Because you can't change the future.
Right.
So no matter what, this is going to happen. I think originally they successfully did it. Ooh. They were going to leave and get out of here and not be found anymore. The guy said, you did it, you fixed everything, but now you gotta kill the guy. He gives him the gun. And he's like, I'm not going to do this. And he's like, you're going to have to do this or there's going to be consequences. Because everything changed. They fixed it, but here's that point, and now we're back. Brad Pitt was fine. They got all the animals out. Now, taking his place is that other guy.
I see what you're saying, but I think it's more plausible because it's time travel that doesn't exist. That the people of the future, Bruce Willis gave them the information to go after Brad Pitt.
Right.
They were just wrong. And that guy was going to do that. His thing was going to happen no matter what. Because even once at one point he talks about he spooks his dad, basically Christopher Plummer, into upgrading the security of their facility where they're working on this stuff to where even he can't get into it anymore. And then they end up kidnapping him.
And they can't do it anymore.
Anything. But I think Brad Pitt is far more just a spoiled kid going after his dad, resentful than
terrorist.
Than a terrorist, right? And that was the plan all along. They were only going to ever release animals either from his thing to free the ones that aren't dead,
or the zoo,
or both, and. Because of the 12 Monkeys thing that Bruce Willis gave him the idea for originally, they thought that was what was going on, but it was that guy all along.
Well, there was a point, too, where, like, she celebrates they did it. They saved the future, and she spray paints on the wall, and then Bruce Willis walks out, and there's a sting, and there's a moment of, like, we didn't do anything.
Right.
It's not going to change. So either way, whether it's... they did fix it, but then it corrected itself because it's inevitable, or they were just looking in the wrong direction.
I think they were just
that moment right there solidifies nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
Humanity's going to die.
Yep.
And there's nothing any of us can do
Bruce
about
Willis is too.
Yeah.
And there's another thing that I think there's you were talking about the time travel with the split.
Yes.
But there's a turn, too, or it's not a split, a total reversal, where Madeline's trying to convince Bruce Willis, all this stuff is in your head.
Yeah.
And then at one point...
she's proven wrong.
Well, hang on. There in the future, he's like, you're not really here. You're all in my... This is all an illusion, blah, blah, blah. He believes... At first, he's... knows the truth. He's from the future. He's going to the past.
Right.
Now he believes he's insane, and the future is all just in his head. And at that point is when Madeline finds out that bullet, and she finds the picture of Bruce Willis in World War I, looking exactly like he just looked. And she's like, he's telling the truth. And she starts kind of acting crazy, believing him. And he's like, I want to give myself up.
Yeah. No, you're right. I am
want
crazy.
Help. And she's like, no, you're right. Brilliant. It was just so cool.
So it's man, this like the theme of this movie is inevitability. I want to say the whole theme of this tragic. Is just inevitability.
It's a tragic story,
and it's done so well. It's really so masterfully done.
It
man.
is.
I love this movie so much. I'm so glad I own it because like it's that good.
There's a lot of details that you can see. Oh, all right, we're talking about some of those details. First of all. Terry Gilliam made a movie called Brazil.
Yeah.
And the studio didn't like the way it ended. So he took out an ad, did all kinds of bullshit to make the studio do it his way. They didn't like that. So he couldn't get some stuff for a while. Then he got offered The Fisher King, which is also another great movie by him. That's not, the set design isn't like his. but it's still madness, that kind of thing.
Right.
That was a big hit with Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges. So he had final cut on this movie, which is a big deal. That means what you say is that.
That's it. We are seeing his say.
They didn't want him to do the Brazil thing again, so they gave him final cut on this because The Fisher King was also a success. So I think that's his vision, one guy, not a committee, not a people that are like, I don't think audiences are going to like this. That is one thing, and I think that makes why we like it so much. Because it's his story. It's not.
It's an original creative idea, told by a creative person. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it was an original story that he adapted.
Yeah.
That is filled with his mark.
I think so.
Tell it's him. And there was no interference, and I think it's why it's so good.
Is what makes it a classic.
Yeah, I think if any studio was to interfere with this movie, it would have been bad.
It probably would have flopped. But I also noticed, too, lots of times, like especially when he goes back to 1990, there's a little fish-eyiness to the...
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I did notice
on the
that.
Sides. It's not throughout the whole movie, but a lot of it is...
every here and there. Yeah. And it's because the big ball... A lot of that has fish-eyed on the monitors and fish-eyed when it's looking at him. I think... That's to kind of convey that they are watching him too.
Right, yeah.
At these moments, they're watching him.
Right.
Somehow, because they can communicate in some way.
Well, one way is by leaving a message that they're going to receive in the future. Like the first time he calls the number that he has.
Yes.
And it's just some lady who's got a bunch of kids. There's no thing here.
That's such a great detail because it's just a number.
Yeah.
Somebody's living there, and he's like, oh, my God, I called too soon.
Right.
It becomes a cleaners. The cleaners shuts down.
Yeah. Madeline
remembers it.
Yeah.
And leaves this message. And because in the future, they were deciphering that message.
Yeah. You can't tell it's her.
You can't tell it's her. And and he memorizes a lot of it.
Yeah.
So when she's like, oh my, you were right. It's cleaners. Everything's saved. We're good. And then she starts saying the message and he's saying it word for word for word for word too. I'm getting goosebumps right now. I'm literally getting goosebumps.
It's so good.
Because she starts slowing down. He's not looking at her anymore. There's that feeling of dread again.
Yep.
That it's not over.
Yeah.
And I love it so much.
And that's he also realizes that he's not crazy at that moment.
Yeah, he's not crazy.
It's all real. She already knows it's real, and they're gonna just get away from it all. That mirror ball, though, and I say mirror ball, the TV ball, kept breaking down.
Oh, did it really?
Was a big pain in the ass. Yeah, it was a big pain in the ass.
Well. I like when they use it. I think it's very effective.
I'm glad they stuck with it.
Yeah. Kind of like the shark in Jaws. It's not like it also experienced some problems, and it's just well enough used that it was worth it.
And Terry Gilliam, I guess, was a real perfectionist. And on this movie, there's the hamster scene. They made a documentary called the Hamster Factor.
Yeah.
Because he was such a perfectionist. And the thing is, there's a picture. It's a scene of Bruce Willis just taking blood out, and then over on the side there's a hamster, but the hamster wouldn't run on the wheel, and they did it like 50 times until that hamster ran on the wheel while he was tearing blood. It's like 5 seconds of footage.
That's it,
and it took him hours to do.
He took a page out of the Stanley Kubrick
book. It worked
book.
though. Everybody was smart to just let him do his thing.
Just let him do it.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. So good.
But that interrogation chair, I was watching it, and then I just happened to be sitting there while the credits are going. And it said interrogation chair scene inspired by Liebes Woods.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? I have no idea what they are. He's an architect, apparently. A world-famous architect. So I guess if you're into architecture, you know who he is, but I had no idea who he was. Right in the middle of the screen is a big credit of that. I didn't put the picture.
Oh.
I purposely didn't show it to you, and then I forgot to send it to him. Damn it. Anyway, that scene is there was a painting, and that guy did it. But he said something. I just think maybe this is why Terry Gilliam used it so much, or he was a big fan. Who's a fan of architects? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
George Costanza, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's fake.
That's it.
And he has a quote about he's interested in living in a fantasy world, but what interests me is the world would be like if it were free from conventional limits, not in a fantasy. And I just get that Terry Gilliam's philosophy of life is similar to that. And you see it a lot in the set design for this movie and also Brazil.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the same kind of thing. It's fantasy in reality. Mm-hmm. And you could totally see that this is why this would have to happen.
It's a good blend, too.
It is, yeah. But the movie is so good.
It's so good. Oh, God, it's so good. I'm kind of excited they're putting out a 4K of this. I believe the Arrow is.
I think it's already out.
And I want it. I want it so bad because it's that good.
It is that good. It really is. There's so many. It's so layered.
Yeah.
And you can watch it just as a narrative.
It should just be called Chekhov's Gun, the movie.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Everything is introduced and has a payoff.
Yes.
Every little thing is.
Everything.
Which is why it works so good as a time travel movie.
Yeah.
Like,
it's perfect.
I would
so
say
self-contained.
The only thing I think I have a flaw or gripe or complaint with is when Bruce Willis gets shot and she goes over to him and she's crying and then she kind of looks up and she sees the little boy,
right.
Bruce Willis. She kind of smiles. Like, it's going to be okay kind of thing because there he is. You haven't really lost him.
Yeah, she doesn't.
It's weird.
Also, she wouldn't. He tells her about it, but he doesn't.
She shouldn't know
She
who
should
that
know
is.
who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a random kid. It doesn't look like Bruce Willis.
Here's another little thing that Terry Gilliam did. And then that very end of the movie is the kid. It's a overhead shot of a parking lot.
Yes.
The kid gets in a car, and then they
plane.
zoom in on the kid. He didn't want to end it that way. He wanted it to end inside the.
Oh, really?
Inside the thing. The producer would have said, "No, we need to do this." And he said he wanted a different ending. He didn't want it to end there. And Terry Gilliam's like, all right, well, what if we have him out in the parking lot and with a crane shot that comes in? They had to get the cars. They had to get the spot. They had to get the crane. All this stuff is wicked expensive.
Yeah.
And he did it on purpose
because somebody...
to talk him out of it. And he said, okay. But then Terry Gilliam loves the end.
That's funny.
Yeah, he tried to screw it over so it wouldn't be that way. Yeah. And he ended up liking it anyway.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
12 Monkeys is great. Highly recommended.
I don't think we've done, other than like Star Wars, I don't think we've done a movie on here I would recommend more than this one. Honest to
not
God.
So far, yeah.
I think this is my all-time.
Oh my God. When I went to see it, I saw it in the theater when it came out.
Lucky.
And in 1996. So one thing I noticed is there's the past, then there's now when I was watching it.
Yeah.
And then the future, which was kind of cool. I went to see it. It was the last show of because they were going to close.
Right.
I would have went right back in and watched it again. I would have gave them money and went and watched it again.
Oh, Lord.
I loved it that much from get-go.
Yeah. I mean, like I see why you like it. I mean, I really do. This is one of those movies where, like, I'm glad I sat down and watched it because I will always watch it. I got Courtney. I was putting it on because I was watching it, and she just happened to be in the room with me. She was playing a video game, and I was watching this. I got to a point where she paused the video game and she was just locked in.
Yeah.
She thought this movie was great.
Yeah. It is that good.
It is so good.
I've never seen the TV show.
I haven't either.
I don't need to. I am
totally interested
satisfied.
in what it is about, though. I mean, obviously,
I kind to, but it just seems like they'd have to drag stuff out, and I think they'd end up screwing things up.
Yeah, I did too.
It's over 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, and they need every minute of it.
Every minute.
But if you go
I haven't met somebody who's watched the show either.
Me neither.
And that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll give this movie 2 thumbs up. 100%.
Big thumbs up, yeah.
100%.
You should definitely own it.
Yeah, own it, watch it, love it, share it legally. And I think this movie would make a really cool double feature with Looper. Have you seen Looper?
I don't like Looper.
You don't like Looper?
No, I told you this before. That's got Bruce Willis in it too.
It's a very similar story too about coming back.
Yeah.
Back on it.
Right.
I thought Looper was great. I'm surprised you didn't like it.
I couldn't even get through it. I
There's
haven't
Ryan
seen the
Johnson.
end.
You haven't seen the end?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'll have to watch it. I'll have to watch it.
but yeah, this is I highly recommend this movie.
Highly recommend.
Highly recommend. And I don't really have anything else to talk about it because I want you to watch it. I want you to watch this movie so bad that leave a comment down below because
or if
we
you
want
have
to
seen
talk
it,
about
what
it
you
too.
think about it.
Tell us what you think about it. Yeah, I mean, share, follow, the podcast.
Yeah, right. Do all that good stuff. Definitely.
Tune in. Follow us on our website, Twitter, and YouTube, and TikTok, Facebook,
Spotify. Did you say on Apple and Amazon too?
Apple, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, anywhere you watch your podcast, we're there. That's the Grindhouse Podcast, the one and only. Do you have anything else to say about this movie?
No, just 2 thumbs up.
Mr. Randy Official, you had anything you wanted to add to this one?
I liked the dark fantasy theme kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, it was a good
The
one.
smoky.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a neo-noir feel to it. Yeah,
it does.
Very good.
A sci-fi Dungeons and Dragons movie almost.
Oh, wow. Well, I have been Cheese Film.
And I am Hecubus. And did you want to say what we're doing next?
I would like you guys to gear up for next week because next week is probably one of the bigger sci-fi movies of all time. It's infamous. Next week is the Forbidden Planet. That stars Leslie Nielsen.
Yep.
And Charlie the Robot, or Robbie the Robot.
Robbie the Robot. The guy that plays Morbius is a famous guy too. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I recognize
You'll find out.
The movie is one of the most popular science fiction movies of all time. You're not going to hate it. Pop it in. It's on Tubi, so stream it. Or you can get it physically. But watch it for next week because we'll be discussing the Forbidden Planet. Thank you so much. Cheese Film out.